Hello, everyone. You heard about the cards, right? So if you need a card to put a question on there, please do so. Wave it in the air. We'll come around and collect it. You'll get other chances. So if you miss this one, or if you need another card, just wave. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Christine Shivo, and I'm the editor of Richmond Confidential, which is the student-run news site at UC Berkeley Journalism. Tonight we're going to be communicating in English and Spanish, inviting monolingual Spanish speakers to take an interpretation headset. Ladna and Noemi can set you up with those. They're waving their hands back there. Thank you. Communicating equitably across languages requires capturing meaning, completeness, and cultural nuances. This is hard work and a collective effort. So it's important that we observe some basic principles to foster clear and equitable communication. We ask you to speak at a moderate pace and remember to pause. Do not speak over each other, and please speak directly into the mic. I don't think I have it close enough. This is our second year holding Richmond candidate forums, and tonight is the last of 3 forums that we're doing before the primary. These events are co-hosted by Richmondside, Richmond Confidential, and the Advocate of Contra Costa College. That's the student newspaper there. This forum, like the others, is live streaming on YouTube and can be watched on richmondside.org or richmondconfidential.org, and it can also be viewed later. So here's how tonight will work. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Our moderator will then ask the candidate questions that are written by reporters or submitted by Richmond residents. Responses are limited to 1 minute. Then we'll open it up for questions from the audience, you. So just raise your hand and we'll bring you the mic, or you can write your question out on a card and we'll read it for you. At the end, the candidates will have the option of making 1-minute final remarks. I'd like to remind everyone, including the candidates, to please silence your phones. And I'd like to remind the candidates to refrain from using your phones during the forum. Are there any questions about the process? Great. Now I'd like to introduce the candidates. Please welcome Soheila Bana, Keycha Gallen, and Jamin Pursell. Tonight's moderator is Carriage Hills, editor-in-chief at Richmondside.
Welcome. Before we begin, we ask the candidates and audience members to respect each other's time and to not interrupt. We also ask that you follow the rules of civil discourse, to keep your tone non-confrontational and your language respectful. We'll start out this evening by allowing each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We'll go in alphabetical order. So Soheila Bana, we will start with you.
Can I ask a quick question before we start? Is there a timer we see, or we just have to?
I'm timecoding right here, so I'll give you a 30-second warning and then a stop.
Awesome, thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Soheila Bana. I've been honored to be trusted and elected by you in 2022. When I was canvassing last term, I often heard that residents here pay taxes and receive no services. And it's a wildfire area and the city didn't pay attention. 3 years later at the city council, I brought city services from paving the streets to lighting to tree trimming. In addition, the city administration now has a mandate for wildfire prevention. Our public works department didn't have any mandate when I went to the city council. Fire department only had fire prevention. Now, our fire department has wildfire prevention. We have a WUI fire inspector. Our fire chief is going to bring an item to request $2,500 for home hardening per resident. Fast forward and expedite weed abatement process by the city attorney. Public Works already has $200,000 for goat grazing as of last year, is going to request for more. They purchased 3 remote mowers. They hired 4 arborists. They have been doing 100 feet defensible space around our communities in the wildfire area, working collaboratively with Measure X. Long story short, I have delivered for you, and I really appreciate your support and trust. I had a mandate when I went to the City Council to be your voice, to be your representative, and that's exactly what I did. And I will be continuing the work that I started, and now that wildfire prevention has become institutionalized within the city administration, I can widely expand my scope of work at the City Council. Thank you again.
Next, we'll hear from Keycha Gallen.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me tonight. My name is Keycha Gallen. I am a Richmond native. I am a mother. I am a nonprofit leader. I am the executive director for Keys to the Future. Keys to the Future is an organization that was established because I lost my brother to gun violence. Imagine losing someone to gun violence because there wasn't enough resources in Richmond to help people with their mental health. It wasn't enough resources in Richmond to actually give these youth somewhere to go to actually reform them or to help them, or mentors in place to help these kids. Someone that didn't have these resources took my brother's life. So I'm here because Richmond didn't have it. They still don't have the actual resources to help everyone in Richmond. Richmond should be a place where everyone feels safe. I understand that there's wildfires, but for District 4, there's gun violence, there's still burglaries, there's still people that feel unsafe. And guess what? If we don't solve those issues, the crime is going to migrate up here because we're not fighting for equity for everyone. It's more to public safety than just wildfires. We have to be here, we have to step up, we have to stand up for everyone in the community. Yes, I give it to our current city council member. Wildfires have been a big thing, but you have to fight for everything that's pertaining to public safety when you're standing up and being a voice in a district for everyone. We can't leave certain people behind because they don't live close to you or they're not impacted by the wildfires. We have to fight for everyone. Everyone's voice has to be heard. We have to do things and put it in place where everyone feels equitable. So I'm here because I have been boots on the ground fighting for equity, boots on the ground doing things for our youth, putting enrichment programs in place.
Okay, thank you. We're sorry. Keep an eye on the time right there. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jamin Pursell. I'm running for Richmond City Council District 4. I'm a small business owner as well as an activist and volunteer for a number of organizations within the city. My education is within political science and philosophy, focusing on human rights and social justice, as well as a master's degree in law, focused on statutory and regulatory law. I worked up in the Capitol, knocking on the doors of our legislators, and I have worked with a number of other officials all over the county, trying to make sure that they're creating good policy that's going to help improve the lives of their citizens. What I'm running on is public safety, which includes bringing up our police force, as well as addressing lighting along the Hilltop Drive and through our neighborhoods, making sure that we are trying to bring down the donuts as well as sideshows that happen within our districts. I want to make sure that we're going to invest in our infrastructure in ways that are going to improve our commercial areas so people feel like they're safe and they're walkable, shoppable, enjoyable areas, as well as making sure that we're making the best use of our city-owned properties. And finally, I believe we should be improving our economic development so that we can expand our budget. And rather than doing that through taxes, I want to make sure that we're doing that by bringing good businesses in, and I want to focus on businesses that provide union jobs, so that way then we can bring the services that everyone deserves. I believe that everyone should be represented by their council member. We need to be bringing people together, focusing on equity and fairness to ensure that all needs are met. Not just one, all of them. Because everybody deserves the Richmond that we all know it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now let's jump in. Just a reminder, please keep your responses to 1 minute and keep an eye on our timekeeper, Becky, with the cards up front. Since Ms. Bana went first for the first intro, this time we'll start with Ms. Gallen. Everyone will answer the same question. District 4, distinct geography, sitting at the edge of East Richmond with a freeway barrier, presents unique challenges to the elected representatives compared to some of the other districts. How do you plan to build a bridge with your fellow council members and city hall staff to ensure the district's needs are met?
One, you really have to assess everything. I think a lot of the times we don't include the community. So I've been big on including a community, working with city's officials that really want to work with us. I think just strategizing. A lot of the times we have the key we have the answer. We just have to engage with the community and bring city council on board to actually make the necessary changes or, bridging the gap.
Jamin?
I think we're trying to cover an area as wide as District 4, from everywhere from Hilltop Village up to the Carriage Hills. We need to be making sure that we're talking to the people who are on the boots on the ground. And when we talk about that, that means we're talking about neighborhood councils. Neighborhood councils are the ones who are able to bring people together to be able to know what their issues are on a localized level. And I believe that it's the duty of the council member to show up to those neighborhood councils and be able to hear the issues that need to be addressed. As well, I believe that really anybody who is running in politics should be knocking doors every day that they're in office, because the only way you're really going to know about the issues is talking to your constituents. Finally, I would say that I would like to have town halls where we are able to have more open dialogue with the constituency. As well, bringing about a state of the district yearly presentation so people know what's been going on and how we've been investing our time within the district and for the citizens. Thank you.
Ms. Bana?
Thank you. I've been endorsed by 23rd Street merchants because I helped them. I worked with them, and they strongly support me. And they're not in District 4. I spearheaded the efforts to assess sport fields in the city of Richmond because we don't have enough soccer fields for our youth. And as a result, the city allocated $7 million to the soccer fields. I'm proud of it. By the way, none of it happened in my district. It happened in other districts. I supported Pogo Park's applications for Harbor Hall, Community Resiliency Center. Again, not in my district. And I helped residents in other districts to start a Stop Illegal Fireworks campaign. By the way, when I reached out across the aisle to ask the Mayor Martinez and Councilmember Jimenez to support my item for Cheese Park, I was attacked instead of being encouraged to work with other council members to bring resources to the community.
Thank you. For this question, we'll start with Jamin. Richmond entered into a 10-year, $550 million settlement with Chevron in 2024, yet today it remains undecided how that money will be spent. If you could pick 3 spending priorities, what would they be?
Thank you for the question. Right off the bat, I believe that we need to have a police station that is going to be in the center of our town, so that way then we can have a police response that is a reasonable time. Currently, where our police station is, for a police officer to get to our district takes about 25 to 30 minutes. And I want to make sure that we have something that is going to be much closer in order to be able to improve that feeling of safety. As well, I believe that we should be investing into our city-owned properties to make sure that we are going to activate them, to make them be able to generate revenue for us. And finally, I would try to invest that into a fund so that we can make sure that we are able to support our budget going into the future. So we are not afraid of any individual business leaving town or having any national issues that cause shortfalls within our budget. We need to make sure that we're planning for the future with this money, and that would be the best way I would try and do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bana?
In order to decide the best way to spend the money or invest it, we need to calculate, we need to ask the finance team how much we save if we address the infrastructure needs, because deferred maintenance costs more. Or how much we save if we pay our OPEB, depending on the interest rates, actuaries, and everything. And also, some of it, I believe, should go to community benefits, like parks or dog parks or other things that people need. So I believe that 3 priorities are paying OPEB and infrastructure, addressing our infrastructure, which is over $100 million due, and some community benefits, but how much to each one, we need to calculate and educate ourselves and the community and come up with a collective decision about how much to spend in each pool.
Ms. Gallen?
Well, to be honest, we really need a SWOT analysis. We need to know what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses, what's our opportunity, and what's our threats when it's coming to this money. We have a lot of things that's outstanding. Yes, we need infrastructure done. Yes, we're lacking in the workforce development. Yes, we need to build our economics part up in the city of Richmond. But we need to see what's outstanding first. And we're not doing that. Every meeting that I have attended, every forum I've attended, is something new that pops up. So we need to know what's outstanding so we can actually make a real viable decision moving forward.
Thank you. This time we'll start with Soheila. While homicides are at a record low, other types of crime have increased, and the city's police force says it remains understaffed. What are your ideas for improving the city's approach to public safety?
Well, we have police force and we have alternative, which is ROC. And I have good relationship with both departments. I strongly believe we need more police officers. 2 studies said we need nearly 200 police officers. Our cap right now is 147, I guess. And practically we have less than 130 underground. This is not sufficient. This is not enough. And police is not just for crime safety, it's for quality of life. In case of a wildfire, in case of an earthquake, to prevent looting, for evacuation, we do need police officers, so we need that. Although ROC is just started, is an excellent service, but we cannot neglect the need for more police officers and improving quality of life in the city of Richmond.
Thank you. Ms. Gallen?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. While homicides are at a record low, other types of crime have increased, and the city's police force says it remains understaffed. What are your ideas for improving the city's approach to public safety?
One, getting the community engaged. ROC started off as a good idea, but it's a half-baked idea. ROC is not A3 certified. We've had 2 fatalities since ROC has been put in place. ROC was put in place to actually stop the whenever there's someone with a mental health issues, when the police roll out. They're not able to do that because they're not A3 certified. They're a community engagement function of the city now, nothing more. So getting the community engaged, working with the boots on the ground nonprofits, working with people that actually advocate for gun violence and put more mentorships in place so these kids can have a healthy outlet.
Jamin?
So I think very first thing we can do to try and improve our ability to bring in more police is to have a city council that is not hostile to the police. It needs to be one that is not going to be continuously trying to make examples from across the country apply to our police force. Because Richmond PD is actually incredible. They have been doing accountability within the force for decades. As well, I think we need to make sure that we are addressing some of the issues like how the beats are initially laid out. They were originally done 20 years ago, and we should do an assessment with our increased population and making sure that we are covering all the area. But as well, I also think that we should have a city council that's not making people feel unsafe by saying and doing things that are alienating groups of people. I feel like it is upon the city council to try and make our community feel together, not calling people pro-genocide or saying anything else that would alienate them. Thank you.
Okay, this question will start with Ms. Gallen. A year ago, the city's new wildfire hazard map expanded the total acreage classified as very high risk and added the neighborhoods of May Valley and East Richmond Heights to the map. Is the city doing enough to protect this district from a catastrophic blaze? What would your approach be to fire prevention efforts?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry. Sure. You hear it again?
Yeah.
You hear it? Okay. So a year ago, the city updated its wildfire hazard map, expanded the acreage that's very high risk, and added 2 neighborhoods from this district, May Valley and East Richmond Heights. Is the city doing enough to protect District 4 from a catastrophic blaze, given its location in the East Hills? What would your approach be to fire prevention efforts?
I think we would need to start working on the infrastructure since we only have one hospital in place right now that can't hold the capacity of everyone in Richmond. I think we need to expand it when we're doing evacuations. We've seen what happened with Pleasant City, the city of Pleasant. The whole city burned down. So I think having an evacuation plan that includes all of District 4, so everyone knows where to evacuate, putting a structure or a foundation in place where it includes everyone, where everyone gets alerts and not just a certain side of District 4, because if the fire can jump, and we've seen that with the past wildfires. So just making sure that everyone has the access to the evacuation drill, everyone has access to the fire departments, and making sure that we're working with the cities and the counties to bring everything together to make sure that everyone feels safe.
Okay, Mr. Pursell.
So wildfire is going to have to be a regional effort. It is going to be something that we're going to have to address not just alone, but with Kensington, with El Cerrito, with Pinole, with the county, and making sure that Con Fire is equipped to be able to address it, as well as Richmond. Richmond does need investment into its fire department infrastructure. It's got buildings that are leaning, that don't have proper, or that previously had not had proper facilities, but could use still improvements. There's a lot we could be doing. Unfortunately, it's the real problem that we're having is funding, because it is a reactionary expenditure, not an upfront expenditure. And people are concerned about having that money being languishing because it will continuously need to be updated. So we should be looking for grants. We should be working with our state legislatures as well to be able to try and address this. This is a climate issue, this is a Richmond issue, but this is a regional issue, and we need to all be on board.
Ms. Bana?
Thank you for the question. I was a force behind bringing the local governments together at East Bay Wildfire Coalition of Local Governments, from the city of Hercules all the way down to the city of Oakland and counties of Alameda and Contra Costa, and I represent the city of Richmond in it. Why? Because fire knows no boundaries, so local governments need to get together and address it regionally. So one of the goals is to get together and apply for major grants to have a shaded fuel break or fire break behind the East Bay Hills. As the chair of West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council and your council member, I've been working closely with our state legislatures, Jesse Arreguin and Tim Grayson. And by the way, one of the efforts of the fire department that I work closely with is evacuation drill on May 30th. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Please participate because community warning system is an opt-in service. If you do not register, you will not receive an emergency alert. It's very important. Inform your neighbors too. Thank you.
All right, this question, we will start with Jamin. After the city shut down its block license plate readers due to a potential data exposure problem, the council voted to reactivate the cameras and reinstate the contract through the end of this year. Was this issue properly handled, and do you support continuing with Flock as the provider when the new contract comes up?
So I would actually say I'm not a brand person. Flock is a brand, to be clear. Now, the license plate readers, I do think they are very helpful. I think that they're something that is necessary. And so when this question's asked, I say, I am not so much about Flock so much as my chief of police, because he is our public safety expert. He was the one who recognized that there was a way to get that information from outside, and he was the one who made sure that we turned it off. And as well, he went and negotiated with Flock to try and get us a deal that would be able to make sure that we are going to have penalties if they violate our limitations that we have as a sanctuary city. Again, I really do believe that our chief of police did everything possible to make it so it was viable. However, if there was a better vendor, absolutely we could go with them. I am not committed to Flock, but I do believe that our chief of police is the one who will be able to make the best assessment and the person who will make sure that everyone's safe. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Bana, your turn.
So when the item came to the council, I heard from many residents. There were two main concerns. Number one, leak of data to ICE. And number two was that Flock is affiliated with Palantir, which does not have a good reputation with regards to social responsibility. What I did, I asked the city administration to make sure that either we own the data, and that's what I urged them to do, so we make sure nobody accesses our data, especially ICE. And number two is it comes back to the city council at the end of the year. So we have the option to go with another vendor of safety cameras. Safety cameras are very important, especially for understaffed police department. We need to have them. But we'd better keep our data safe and secure. City manager and city attorney told me they were working 2 weeks on the contract to make sure all the requirements I had asked for would be implemented.
And now Keycha.
So I actually agree with having flock cameras in place. We all have real IDs. We all have debit cards. And some of us in here may even have a Tesla. All that stuff is tracking you. I don't see anything wrong with people feeling safe. And the issue was a safety concern. So when you're addressing safety, you can't just think about one group of people or one area. You have to think about everybody. Include everybody. That's where the equity comes in at. Yes, it was a data breach, but it was nothing in Richmond. So it wasn't a problem. People were getting their cars stolen. With the license plate readers, some of those cars were retrieved. A couple of young ladies went missing. They were spotted in Richmond. Because we didn't have those flock cameras on, we lost the opportunity to help those kids. So it is our responsibility, it's our human right to be safe. Thank you.
Okay, let's take some time to hear some questions from the audience. Do we have cards to pick up from anybody? Anyone, or we can get the mic out to you. Anyone would like to ask a question? You could raise your hand, or we'll grab a card.
Not everybody at once.
Don't be shy.
You've got one here.
Hello, I'm a May Valley resident, we are, and recently Cheese Park, the Moines, has been deteriorating. It's been there forever, and Richmond recently, the city councils recently approved a capital improvement project for Cheese Lemoyne Park. So my question to all of you is, did you agree with that? Do you support that? Or do you think that that money should be better spent in another part of Richmond? Thank you.
I guess I can start. I think that every park in District 4 needs to be refurbished. I think that they all need to be upgraded, not just Cheese Park. We have Hilltop Green Park needs to be redone. We have Hilltop Drive Park needs to be redone. So yeah, the money is beneficial because guess what? When I went out there, we did story time. We had kids coming out there for story time and they had an opportunity to play. And then I think that some things doesn't take a lot of money. You know, they want a dog park out there in Hilltop. We just have to go out there and we can get volunteers, get the permit and go out there and do it ourselves. Everything doesn't cost a lot of money. We just have to take the initiative to do it.
Jamin, why don't you go next?
Sure. So when that was brought forward, the issue is that we have a budgeting session. We have ways that we can move things through onto the capital improvement plan. And that process is something that we should be honoring and should be part of the understanding of how a city council member works. The issue that we had that was with that item was that it was being done out of process. It was also misclassifying that park as a community park instead of a neighborhood park. It was also not looking at it holistically with the rest of the parks within our district and within the rest of the city. We need to make sure that we have transparency, accountability, and for people to make sure that we are addressing the greatest need first. As an example, Rain Cloud Park is only just recently, I heard yesterday, was to be able to get new equipment because their equipment has been fenced off for over 6 months now. We need to make sure that we're doing it responsibly and transparently. Thank you.
Ms. Bana?
So when we were assessing different parks across the city for a sports field, I suggested Cheese Park, but Public Works said it'd be too expensive. And I agreed on optimizing the budget and going with other fields, not in District 4. But we do need restrooms in Cheese Park, so I brought the item to the City Council. For Hilltop Green, there has been done a lot of vegetation management by the city. It never had it before. So vegetation management was their #1 concern, they received it. For Hilltop Park, I had the idea of dog park and brought it up, but the neighborhood council president of the area, Mr. Arthur Rentila, strongly opposed it and said people don't want it. So I tabled it. I didn't go for it. If people want it, I'll be more than happy to bring it. But I have received requests for improving lighting there and putting fitness equipment, and I'm going for that. That's one item I have, and I'm following it, and will provide results to you as soon as possible. And by the way, rain clouds, yeah. Residents complain, and it's being addressed. Thank you.
We have another question here.
There's been a lot of division in our city. What ways would you suggest to bring us together?
Well, I actually went to city council with some different nonprofits to bring the community together. The nonprofit people were from different parts of the city, but I don't know, city council wanted to do a backdoor deal and that fell through. But we did bring resources, and we are I'm gonna say for the gun violence thing, we have an event that's called Wear Orange. We do it with Moms Demand Action every year. It's June 7th at 322 Harbor Way. It's a great event. The community is welcome. People from everywhere come around to actually start the healing of the city and to create unity. And the city is never a part of it, and that's what they choose to do. But the city as a whole, the community, boots on the ground, nonprofits, we're working to actually heal the community and bring the city together.
Thank you, Jamin.
Well, I would start off with, I think that a way to be able to talk about international issues is not going to be through proclamations or resolutions, but instead to have a town hall where people are able to have a dialogue with the other members of their community so that they don't feel like we have to be in one camp or another. You can be a person who is being heard. You are able to express your feelings in a way that is respectful to your other community members. And we are able to try and work towards understanding. A lot of these issues that are causing the division are things that are far greater than our within the scope of our city or within the scope of a city council member. We need to make sure that we are working to bring people together, to make sure that they are fully informed of all of their resources, to make sure that we're supporting our nonprofits who are doing a lot of the hard work, but making sure that we're creating an environment where everyone feels welcome within our city, that no one should be excluded. Thank you.
So we are fortunate in the city of Richmond to have many churches, 2 mosques, and 1 temple. And I've been working with all of them. I brought up the idea of a town hall with the former rabbi of the temple. It was rejected at the time, but I'm very glad to announce that I'm working closely with the new rabbi, Ms. Julie Sachs-Thaler, who is open to collaboration, and we're working together. Recently, they organized, along with the Good Table, actually a Palestinian-Israeli forum at the church in Richmond, which was a great step. And we have the indivisible movement in the city of Richmond that we need to support. We all have to work together. I'm a collaboration builder. I've done it for many nonprofits. I acknowledge the great work of Ms. Gallen at the City Council. I initiated the first Remembrance Day of victims of gun violence, and I'll continue my bridge building and collaboration across all sectors of the society.
She actually did not collaborate it. I'm gonna be honest here today.
Okay, do we have another audience question?
Thank you very much. My name is Don Gosney. Anybody that knows me has heard me say this time and time again about elected officials. I've been challenging them. How can you claim to speak for the people when you never speak with the people? A big problem that we have in Richmond is the lack of accessibility to our elected leaders. If you are elected, what will you do about making sure that you are accessible, not just to the people that think like you, that live in your neighborhood, but for all of the people in Richmond, especially those that you may not agree with what you think?
Let's start with Ms. Bana for that one and rotate the responses.
I've been accessible to the community before I came to the city council. I started a community mailing list. I'm glad to say I'm in touch with over 1,500 households. On a regular weekly basis, I report to them what I do. I inform them about what's going on in the community, about public safety, about events, about everything. And I hear from them. And I try to be on social media as well. As a result, I hear from many residents, not just in my district, but from other districts. So, as I told you, when they wanted to start the Stop Illegal Fireworks campaign, they reached out to me, not their own city council member. CERT and emergency communication people, they reached out to me to support their efforts. And I put them in touch with their own city council member. So I do receive requests from people in different parts of the city. As I told you, 23rd Street merchants reached out to me and I helped them. That's why they're endorsing me. I've been accessible to businesses, to residents, to with large corporation. I continue the communication bridge, you know, and it's a must for every city council member to be present and representative. Thank you.
Keycha?
So I am running because my voice and the people around me voice wasn't being heard. City council does not respond to emails. They do not follow through on things that they say that they're going to follow through. I'm not a politician. I was someone in the community advocating for change, advocating for the people, no matter what you look like. I do not receive funding for the city. I go outside of the city to bring funding in to help the people in the city of Richmond who need services for Christmas, who needs back to school supplies, who needs whatever they need. I've been out there doing it. We have continuous events throughout the year for people in the community. And we constantly do it because the city is not providing equity. Even though we believe that the underserved areas is getting all the funding, that is not true. That funding is going to people, when you get endorsed, those are the people that's getting the money. Follow the paper trail.
Well, first things first is actually responding to emails. I think that is important. And I will say that I also have a mailing list, and I've got about 4,000 people on mine. But, you know, it doesn't matter how many people, it's about how much are you providing and how much are you going to be able to reach. And I will say that it really doesn't matter as long as until you are actually responding back. As well, making sure that you're actually going to these community events, making sure that you're going to be accessible to everybody, and making sure you're treating everybody with the humanity and the respect that they deserve. We don't get along with our partners that we love 100%, so why would we expect that from anyone else? We should be making sure that we are trying to be as open as possible. But you have to do that in a way that is not alienating others because you're taking political stances or you're disparaging them because you don't agree with them. I think that's really important because we have a lot of council members who have been making accusations at others in the community, and it alienates us. And this is a problem.
Thank you. We have a question from the audience. Soheila, can you explain your idea to use bonds for affordable housing? Did you vote to raise impact fees, which makes housing more expensive?
Say it again.
Can you explain your ideas to use bonds for affordable housing? Didn't you vote to raise impact fees, which makes housing more expensive?
I don't remember having voted for impact fees, no. One of my projects is affordable housing. Bonds is an option. Also, Fire Station 63 needs to be rebuilt. That's another option for housing, and the police department. But the city can do a lot more for housing, providing grants to first-time buyers. One of the things I did was ban land grab by big corporations, limit the number of houses they can buy in the city, so it's more available to first-time buyers. We need to assist them with home ownership. Even City of San Pablo is doing it. The City of Richmond is not doing enough, especially for our teachers. So I've been working with the city and previous superintendent, but then, you know, the superintendent changed. But I hope to continue the efforts for providing affordable housing for our teachers, especially to keep them in the city of Richmond, to improve quality of education. Home ownership is the key to stop gentrification, and we need to work on that.
We'll let the other candidates share any ideas on affordable housing if you wish. Optional. Go ahead.
I know for Richmond, Land Trust has a lot going on with affordable housing. I think that we need to invest in land trust more. It's like a co-op for housing for people that want to buy housing and make it generational. They wouldn't be able to sell it, and if you sold it, you wouldn't get as much money as you would normally get if you sold a house that you purchased right out yourself. I think that's a good investment. I think that we need to take some of the land that the city have and develop it, and not just developers that's backing us. We need to put something in place where it's fair and equitable to everyone, and I'm totally for affordable housing.
Jamin, anything?
Yeah, well, I'll start off with, I'm surprised, well, I would say I'm surprised. I think that if you're up on that dais, you should be reading everything within your agenda. You should be making sure you understand what that means, and you have a city attorney as well as you have a number of experts around you to be able to get that information if you don't understand what's on the agenda. That said, one of the things that we are having a problem with here in the city of Richmond is we are not having enough housing developers come here because we have made it hostile. We've made it a slow process. If it takes 5-7 years to be able to get a project through, then most developers aren't going to be able to pencil it out. That said, I think we can look at our permitting process and give reasonable timelines, reasonable fees, and make sure that we're able to work with developers rather than tying them up in the red tape that has made it so that we haven't had any good housing development here within the city of Richmond in about 5 years. It's about time. We need to make doing this infill housing to make sure that we are providing all levels of housing. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go to one of the questions that was submitted to Richmondside online by one of our readers. Let's see, we'll go back to our order. We'll start alphabetically. We'll start with you, Ms. Bana. What is your main achievement in life? What is the best project you have done recently?
I have many achievements, but recently working on wildfire safety and prevention has been the biggest achievement because I was a force behind bringing all the local governments in Contra Costa and Alameda County together, institutionalize the mandate for wildfire prevention in the city of Richmond and its city administration, expanding the definition of public safety from crime safety into wildfire safety, traffic safety, gun violence reduction, and gender-based violence reduction. So that wide angle of view and attacking the problem and accomplishing many of the goals has been one of my achievements, and I'm very proud of it, and I really appreciate the trust and support of the people who've been along the way with me. We made it.
Keycha?
Okay, I guess one of my main accomplishments is Richmond had its very first We're Orange Gun Violence Summit, where it pulled people in from different areas, but mainly the people from Richmond, where Richmond didn't have the healing that they need. They didn't have the advocacy, people standing up for the gun violence. The Wear Orange was a time for people to come together, for the city to heal, for families to tell their stories, and for them to start receiving the resources and the healing that they needed in order for them to move forward. And we're actually having our second Wear Orange, as I mentioned before. So we're bringing in resources as a whole for the city has been a big accomplishment for me, because since I've been doing it, I have impacted over 5,000 individuals and maybe, 1,200 families as a whole. So I'm most proud of that.
Jamin?
Well, it's hard to choose. I would start off with around public safety. I was a part of drafting the bylaws to make sure that we had a community board to be able to address, to be able to engage with our community crisis response. So that way, then community members can raise issues with regard to how ROC interacts with the public. I wanted to make sure that that was something that was accessible to people, and I wanted to make sure that we were following the best practices. As well, I would say that I am proud to be sitting as the chair of Richmond Rainbow Pride, which for 12 years has been providing an inclusive space for people in Richmond after we had a lot of LGBT hate being thrown around in city council meetings. But finally, I would say most recently, it's been the Taste of Richmond, where I expanded it to not just be the taste that we eat, but it is the taste of what we have within our community. And so we invited makers and artisans to be able to be at that event. It was a sold-out event, and those artisans are all small business owners and small makers and crafters from here in the city. And I think it's important to buy local. Thank you.
We have a little bit of time for maybe another audience question. Anybody?
This one here.
Hi, I live in El Sobrante. I'm in the Abyss of El Sobrante in Richmond, and we are always forgotten. Sorry about my English. We are the leftovers. So I wanted to ask all the candidates, because I know Miss Bana has been involved very much with El Sobrante, with the pride in the cheese park and the green team. I'm a green team. We clean the city every third Saturday. Everybody can help us. But I would like to know what each candidate can do for us leftovers, which is El Sobrante, and we are right there in the middle of everything, District 4.
All right, we'll let you go first, Jamin, this time.
Well, I will say that my work with El Sobrante started back when I initially moved here, and I was part of the May Valley Neighborhood Council. I was actually on the El Sobrante Planning and Commission, and I did a bit of work around that. As well, I was part of the Citizens for Greener El Sobrante, as well as I was a part of that Save the Richmond Hills initiative, which primarily was El Sobrante residents. That said, I think that if we want to incorporate more interaction with El Sobrante, we need to be doing that through the process that we have. We need to be able to, if we want the City of Richmond to help sponsor El Sobrante Stroll, we need to be able to put that into the budget and have it evaluated in front of everything with all the other events that the city sponsors. And we are able to make sure that we are connecting us rather than trying to say this is one or the other. That said, I will say that this position is for the Richmond residents. So I want to make sure that we are addressing their needs first. But El Sobrante is important because it is a part of our greater community, just like San Pablo and El Cerrito.
Okay, Soheila.
Thank you. I've been fighting for El Sobrante Creekside Community Park for years. So it was in the news that, the dream is still alive. I don't have much time to go on, but as a board member of Citizens for Greener El Sobrante, I've been fighting for El Sobrante Creekside Park. I've been a part of the Green Team. I was one of the founders of supporters of El Sobrante Pride when it was founded. I'm honored to be endorsed by them. And I brought city sponsorship and funding to El Sobrante Stroll. I brought Richmond Moves to the District 4. And I asked the city to include the budget for SOS cleanup of encampments and illegal dumping all over the El Sobrante Valley. Not just the city of Richmond, because it is one community. Whatever goes on in the unincorporated affects us. And we need to work together on traffic safety, San Pablo Dam Road, bikes, many other things together. Thank you.
Ms. Gallo?
So having more meetings, and I wouldn't even say meetings because meetings are boring. Having more times where we do stuff, where we're having tea, where we're coming together, where we're breaking bread together, where you can address your concerns. Because I'm one of those people that when I have an issue, I like to talk it out. I'm a proactive person. I'm more about action than complaining. So just working together with the community, hearing their voice, because I am you. That's why I'm sitting here now. As I was canvassing, I was talking to my neighbors. And when I say neighbors, every house that I reach is considered a neighbor. So the small things that I was able to change, I had mothers saying that it wasn't any programs out there and they had to actually leave the city or leave, our area to go to an event for their kids or to do something for their kids. Well, that was something I can change, something that was easy. So I brought a reading program to the park on Hilltop Drive. So just working together to make the changes.
Okay, that's,
We do have time for another question.
we can do one more, yes.
We have? Okay. All right, so good evening. As I prepare to vote, and I haven't seen the three of you, and I'm just here listening to what you have to say and how you're saying things, I'm wondering, who should I vote for? why should I vote for you, Jamin, and not for Ms. Gatlin or Ms. Bana? It's like, what is it that, I've heard some of the things that you're bringing to the table, but what's one thing that you can tell me that you're bringing to the table that tells me, hey, I want to vote for this candidate and not the other two? You want to go first?
The thing that I'm going to be able to bring to this position is that I will know how city government works, not by learning on the job, but by knowing before I show up for it. I have been working within government and within various different capacities for most of my professional career. It is something that is really important to me, is to have a respect and to have a trust in government. I am going to bring that back because we have too many times people being told that there are backroom deals, that they're not able to reach their council members because they disagree with them or because they feel alienated by that council member. I'm a person who wants to bring people together. I have done that through many different organizations I've worked with, whether it's been for environmental causes, whether it's been for social causes. It does not matter. I believe everybody has a right to respect and the humanity that is inherent to everyone. And as well, I'm going to explain to them the process to get anything accomplished if it's within our scope. And I want to be honest and transparent, and I think that's important.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can say for me, I can tell you that I'm training with Emerge, California. They train women to be in politics. Currently doing that. I trained in Demand a Seat. I can tell you all that. I can tell you that I lobbied at the state capitol for policy change. I have with Moms Demand Action. But I'm here because I sacrificed 25% of my income from 2018 up until now, well, not to now, January, because we got funding, to make sure that Richmond had the resources that they needed, brought resources from the outside. That was my sacrifice for Richmond because I wanted change. I wanted these kids to have a fighting chance. Not just my kids, anyone that participated in my program. I teach them entrepreneurial skills. I teach them art skills. I help them with their leadership development. I give them a voice. When I seen that my voice wasn't being heard, I was taking the kids to city council so they can get their voice heard. So doing things to help the community out of something that I wanted to do because I want to be the change that I want to see.
All right. Thank you.
I'm deeply rooted in the community. I'm very connected to the community. I listen to the community and I deliver. That's why you should vote for me. So any grassroots activity in the community I'm a part of or I strongly support. From the good table, from the green team, from the triangle, from the pride, anything, you name it, I'm there, I'm with you, I support you, and I work for you and with you. Any services you ask for, tree trimming, pavements, I pass it on to the city administration, here is it. And I strongly care about your public safety. These days, I'm working more on educating people about the evacuation drill, honestly, than I work on my own campaign, because it's important. I'm not only connected with residents and businesses, I'm trying to bring resources to our HOAs who cannot afford vegetation management. So your voice at the city council means representing you and getting what you want, and that's what keeps me busy.
Thank you.
Okay.
My voice was never heard.
That's all we have time for this evening. It's time for the closing remarks from the candidates, so we'll go in alphabetical order, starting with Ms. Bana. You have 1 minute.
I've been endorsed by our teachers, firefighters, labor unions, and community leaders that you trust. I'm asking for your vote because I accomplished what I promised to you when you sent me to the city council. The city council has changed a lot in terms of its mandate for public safety, wildfire safety, public awareness has raised. We have fire-wise communities. Now I have time, now that the first step has been accomplished, in addition to many other things. I'm going to widen my focus, work on community resiliency centers across Richmond, on addressing homelessness, affordable housing, economic development, and growth in the city. And I'm open to your suggestions and ideas. We need to work together to move the city of Richmond together. We have to work together. So I'm here for you, I'm listening for you, and I'm really humbled by your support and trust. Thank you so much, and I hope you re-elect me and vote for me again.
Well, I can tell you what I'm currently doing. I'm currently going out there and making sure that our unhoused is fed. I'm currently working with our youth to make sure that they have a mentorship in place, to make sure that they have skills so that they don't have to go to the street, so that they have options. I've been out there healing a community that's been impacted by gun violence. I don't just see one side of El Sobrante as needing help. I look at all of El Sobrante. I look at Richmond as a whole, because it's going to take all of us working together in order to change the trajectory for Richmond. Everyone should be invested in Richmond. It is at everyone's interest to make sure that these kids are healed, because guess what? When crime hits the lower level, eventually it's going to hit the upper level. Inflation is up 3.78%. That's impacting all of us. So guess what? Things are going to start to shift here. So we have to think about things, we have to think about everything, and we have to think about equity to keep people out. Or to keep them safe, I should say.
My name is Jamin Pursell, and I'm running for Richmond City Council because I believe in the future of Richmond. I've been here for nearly half my life, and I am going to be here for all of its future. I have no plans to leave, and one of the things that I want to see in Richmond is stop the special interests leading our city council. And that has gone from one side of the pendulum to the other. I am not affiliated with the RPA, and that is why I believe we should be moving towards a new generation of leadership. I know how this city works. I know how to get things done, and I want to make sure everyone knows I will be doing that work for you. Every single person in here deserves to have their needs met. None of them diminished and none of them pushed to the side. Everyone in this city has been at one point alienated, and I want to make sure everybody feels like they're brought in. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates for joining us this evening, and thank you all for coming out, and whoever is online, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to vote on or before June 2nd. Have a nice evening.